I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to the Resistance. Have you heard the latest Orwellian justification for Trump's illegal war? The one that started with a missile hitting a school full of little girls. One that continues with more schools and hospitals being hit, a la Netanyahu. Trump took to Twitter to tell us what the new party line is, and his stooges in the White House and in Congress are hitting the airwaves to propagate it. He's telling us that we had to do this. We had to do this because Iran has been attacking Americans for 47 years. 47. Imagine that. He reportedly cut down the training time of new ICE agents to 47 days. He's the 47th president. And he says that Iran has killed over 2,000 Americans. I actually heard one of his lackeys preview the 2,000 number yesterday. Why 47 and 2,000? Because he expects Americans to get on board and start supporting this war. Because after enough of our soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines are sacrificed, he believes we'll all rally around the flag and forget about the Epstein files and miraculously view him as a great leader. He wants us to always think of him and the number 47 and have a smile on our face. The whole over 2,000 thing is it's quite the clever psyop on the American people. The only time America has been attacked by anybody from the Middle East, here at home anyway, was on 9/11, and over 2,000 Americans lost their lives. He wants us to conflate that with Iran. He wants us to associate 9/11 with Iran, just like George Bush wanted us to believe that Iraq had WMDs and played a part in 9/11. If we associate 9/11 with Iran instead of bin Laden, then maybe we'll think of taking out Iran's leader in the same way we think about taking out bin Laden. Something that Obama did and Trump can never match. That's my theory. And if I'm right, it's a horrible plan. There's plenty of people, a majority of active voters, who are old enough to remember that all the way back to 47 years ago. Granted, I was just a kid. But the only major thing I remember about Iran in my lifetime was the hostage crisis in 1979. There have been a couple of attacks like the Beirut bombing that was blamed on Iran. But one, all of the attacks attributed by politicians to Iran don't add up to 1,000, let alone over 2,000. And two, who is it that's always telling us what a boogeyman Iran is? Israel. Now, I'm not saying that Iran's leaders aren't a bunch of bad guys, but hey, Netanyahu, the World Court and those members of our Congress who aren't working for AIPAC tell us that Netanyahu is a war criminal. He's no more trustworthy than Trump or his minions. And speaking of AIPAC, this illegal war is putting a great big spotlight on which members of Congress are more loyal to AIPAC than they are to our own Constitution. When Venezuela was illegally invaded, there were members of Congress jumping all over themselves to try and get in front of a camera and call for a war powers resolution. Now that Israel is involved, well, Schumer and Jeffries and the rest of the AIPAC caucus are twisting themselves into pretzels trying to find a way out of enforcing the War Powers Act. Mark Kelly was all over Venezuela, but now says it's unlikely he'll vote to stop this war. And where are those guys that want us to think future president when we see their names? Newsom, Pritzker, Shapiro, Bashir, others. Where are they? They're condemning the attack. They're calling it unconstitutional. But they're not calling on Congress to enforce the War Powers Act. Why not? I'll tell you why. Because they're not ready to lead us. Chris Murphy is the only one of the contenders that I've heard step up. Watch your politicians, folks. Are they saying everything that AIPAC wants to hear? Or are they calling for the Constitution to be enforced? Please, figure that out and adjust your support accordingly. Thanks for listening. Good day.